Hi
Yeah,
guys. So today we'll be speaking about mastering virtual viewings. So how to create engaging virtual tours and conduct detailed video viewings. Go to the next slide. So my name is Pegah. I'm the sales and marketing director of Touroo UK and the director of Touroo Canada. We are a media tech company that provides all-in-one marketing services for a variety of industries, including real estate, hospitality, and retail. And we recently became an official partner with Matterport. So Ryan, do you want to introduce yourself?
yeah, I'm Ryan Becker. I'm the founder and managing director at UK Visual Immersion. We're a marketing communication company that specialises in consumer-driven bespoke virtual experiences. We've delivered this across a variety of industries, including real estate, retail, hospitality, and specifically build to rents in the UK. And we were a founding member of Matterport in the UK.
Great. Thank you.
For today's agenda, we're first going to talk about preparation,
If you
best
can go to
practice,
the next slide, please.
best
Sorry.
practice and tips for creating an amazing and engaging virtual tour. We're then going to talk about the benefits of using a virtual tour and some of the things that we've seen in terms of trends from people using it. And
Yeah.
then finally, we will talk about some of the add-ons and where the possibilities are for the future of virtual tours.
And we will dedicate a time for Q&A at the end. Great. So just to begin, for preparing a virtual tour, it might sound a bit of an obvious question to many, but what do we do to prepare a home for a virtual tour? So basically, cleaning is one of the main first things that come to everyone's mind. But the key difference here is that at most times, landlords, tenants, or agents, they think that the process of photography and traditional videography is sort of the same as 3D virtual tours, where at many times there are, for example, places where you can basically hide things in the virtual in the photo or in the traditional videography. There are chances that you can kind of hide certain aspects of the room, or maybe it's not super clean that you don't want to show it in a listing. But the thing about 3D virtual tour is that its most important aspect is that you can't really hide anything. You can't hide any aspect of that space. So it does give you that great transparency, and that's one of the main driving points that 3D virtual tours are now taking over the marketing aspect of properties, because they've seen that this transparency is allowing people to make their decisions more efficiently, and thus giving a much greater efficiency with the whole process of rentals or sales that happens in the property market. So if you can click on Let's Explore. I wanted to show you one of the properties that we've recently done. This is, it's a bit slow. I'm not sure why that is. It's okay. I think it's just the, can you full screen it, or? Thank you. So yeah, this property is a beautiful mansion in the heart of South Kensington. It's a 27 million pound property. As you can see, when we enter the property, everything is photo ready. Everything is perfectly laid out in the space. And also the furniture is laid out in a way that when a person is walking through the virtual tour, they can easily have a flow of movement through the property. This makes it easier for the photographer as well when they're doing the actual virtual tour. It's easier for them to create that flow of space. It's very important to make it very easy and accessible for people to move into the space. Another important factor, of course, is leaving all the curtains and having the best light possible. That's one of the key features that we also tend to sometimes forget that we should always remember. If you can click on the bottom left part where the highlights are. Yeah. So this feature of having the highlights, it allows people to basically navigate through Matterport through the different rooms. So if you do not want to actually walk through the space and you just want to go from, for example, the bedroom to the kitchen to the bathroom, you can just click and go to that each individual room easily without having to actually walk through the space if you do not wish to. You can just go through a few, yeah. Thank you. And if you can, another great feature that I'm going to talk about for the preparation is that if you can see, if you play the first highlight, we use 360 photography for outdoor space. So why is that? We basically think that 360 photos are more accurate and it creates a more complete version of the 3D tour. So you can see, you can have different shots of 360 shots of the outdoors. So you can add those into the virtual tour. Some people think that, oh, we can't really explore the outdoor, whereas traditional videography usually show. Well, these are some of the features that we can bring into the virtual tour that usually people may not think those are actually possible in the virtual tour. So if we go back, if you can just press play so it goes through the space. So it is very important for the preparation to create a eye candy, I would say eye candy space for the shooting, because then we would have the best final result that we want in for the preparation of the virtual tour, where many people think the photographer can do their magic. Well, we are not really magicians at this stage, but virtual tours really give that transparency and the best accuracy for seeing the whole space as a whole. And just the last part, I want to click on the dollhouse view. The dollhouse view is also a great way to basically have a understanding of the whole space, so you can kind of see where the layout is, how it works. Especially for big properties like this, it's very useful to see the big picture. So it's kind of like physically standing in a drone view, if you say, and you can basically get the big picture out of the space. So Ryan, if you want to go ahead with the best practice slide and explain that.
Yeah, so many agents don't actually realize that you can show all hidden spaces really in a virtual tour. So this can be showcased by tags, this can be showcased by additional photos, or even video content that we can add into a model to create a more immersive environment. So all of the things you can't see. And I think this is really important when really looking at how you wanted to create a deeper and richer engagement with the consumer on your space. also, 3D property tour might not be enough to showcase the exterior of the property. And that's where, as Pegah said, 3D photos can come in to play. You can use drone photography. So at Visual Immersion, we've mixed some drone photography with some of our models to get a more large scale footprint of the area and the surrounding area, and really create that immersive tour within it. A couple of examples, if I just click on. One is really to create a easy to flow tour as well. So this is done by really editing down on the scan points. So you can see in this one, for instance, we've taken a lot of the scan points out just to make it very quick and easy for the consumer just to walk around, have a look at the size and space of all areas, and work their way through the environment, creating a real clear flow. And as you can see, you can also use the autopilot. So one click, press play, and you can walk through automatically. The good thing about this functionality as well is the customer can stop it at any point in time. So as you go through the model, if there's a place that you want to have a bit more of a look at, you literally just click the mouse like so, and it stops the model in that position, then gives you instructions on how to back round the model. One of the key trends we've seen in creating a really immersive and truly commercial virtual tour is to add features and benefits into the model that can't readily be seen. So, for example, you wouldn't go and reference that that's a chair because you can see it's a chair and a sofa. But what we have done is put things like this into the model. So we talk about the signature collection and the designers that are involved with creating this bespoke environment for this apartment. And you can click on a button here that takes you just to a link to get immersed in more information. When we're talking about entertainment, we're not only talking about.
This is, I think it's a bit stuck, so we can't really see the matter tags when you open them.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Is that better?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah. And so when you're talking about entertainment, the reason to get a great virtual tour is to show things that you cannot readily see. So here we talk about free Sky Q for 12 months and super fast broadband. And then what we've also done is added a link to shops and places to eat within the local area. So giving a much more immersive experience to the consumer so they can click through and have a look at where they can go out for dinner. Likewise, when you go up to the window here, you can look outside, you can see the surrounding area, and then what happens is there's automatically a video that plays that talks about the surrounding area. So as you can see, just giving more richer, deeper content to the consumer that really can influence their buy-in and purchasing decisions. You can see here that there's also an embedded virtual tour. So this is just a video tour done by the company that just walks around some of the areas and you can view that. And then finally here, there's a link to the community magazine that basically creates a more community feel and shows that the business has a community feel that the consumer who's looking at this model can click into and see it. As well as that, you can tag up a lot more extra descriptions, so things that really might help the viewer to see it. So, for example, this oven, you can talk about what appliances are in the oven if that's something that you really want the customer to know. And then you can also, add branded virtual tours. So you can create this as a complete package. So you can see here that it links back into the company's website. You can also add a button here that takes you into booking an actual viewing. So you can actually book a viewing or a guided virtual viewing at the same time. So the idea really to create an amazing virtual tour is to look at what the consumer can't see and what they would want want to see more of, and then add that in using the meta tags, using 360 photos, using potentially video footage, still photography, and links to external areas.
Great, thank you. Should we go back to the slide? We have about 4 minutes until Q&A, apparently. Great. So in regards to some of the benefits and add-ons, where the future of virtual tour is going is that now they're trying to evolve and add these sort of extra features, features that kind of enhance the interactiveness of the virtual tour. So basically, one of the key features is branding the virtual tour. So making it more personal to that agency or the brand, so that it's more engaging. And there's also a panel on the left that can be added to add the exact map location of the space, which is really great. There's not only the space that you enter, but you can kind of interact with that space in these matter. There is a voiceover that is coming to the market. Basically, the agent can speak live while the customer or the client is walking through the space. This is another important factor, bringing a human connection into the virtual tour, as many people prefer that, and they don't really like the virtual tour. They say there's no human interaction, there's no someone that can answer our questions, where the voiceover comes in very handy at this point. The measurement tool, Ryan, if you want to.
Yeah, so the measurement tool we're seeing being used an awful lot at the moment. So basically, it's a little ruler here that measures areas. And you can see here, if I just click on it, you can click down on that table and measure the exact length of the table and the space. And a lot of people are using this really to measure up, virtually measure up the property for furniture. And it is accurate within 99.9% accuracy, that really does drive an additional benefit. So again, if you can't get to see the property, or retrospectively you're wanting to add to the property, if you've got the model, you can measure up window bays. For example, if you wanted to see the curtain size, you could measure up the window bay across here, and you'd know that your curtains need to be 0.86 meters across. So a real added benefit for the consumer in terms of measuring and being able to furnish their homes virtually.
Right. And the dollhouse view, as I mentioned before, gives you the big picture, and the social media videos.
Yeah, so it's interesting. We've got a question on the plans to create greater sensory experiences that are not solely visual. There's a couple of things around that. One is we do create a 1-minute social video of most of our tours. And some of the tours that we've done in visual immersion, and I know it's the same for Touroo, have received a fantastic amount of views and likes. We did one for Paper Chase recently, and they had over 20,000 views of the video, so the short social video, which really creates an added benefit and a reason to really go in and look at. And you can also add things like audio visual into the models through the matter tags. So you can add a video or audio into any of the matter tags that you've got, so to create that more sensory experience. And in terms of some of the bolt-ons as well around the branded virtual tours that Pegah spoke about, you can add audio and autoplay video to those as well. So there is really lots of new add-ons and new tools that really make it a much more immersive experience.
Great. Yeah, and also virtual staging is a really big one coming in with Matterport as well. Virtual staging basically creates all the different furnitures that you see on architectural CGIs and brings that into the actual Matterport. That will also help visitors to kind of envision what the space could look like, because an empty apartment is much harder to kind of see yourself walking through the space. You can't really envision how you can live there. If there is furniture, there is a better chance for you to actually, understand how the space layout might work. Another big one is a 3D apartment finder. So if you can go to the link that says check this out and make it full screen there, please. So we recently partnered with a company called Como. So they created this 3D apartment web. This allowed for many people to kind of see the environment of the space virtually. So you could see all the different apartment options across the development, and you could kind of filter down the 1 bed, the 2 beds, and see where they are in the apartment, and click and choose and go and see exactly the floor plans, add your favorite ones to the basket, and kind of share them via social media or book direct appointments as well. And we basically created the 3D virtual tour aspect, which is this part, this bit. We create those 3D virtual tour, but it is great for big developments, you see. So virtual tour has a big future, because not only you can see individual spaces, but you can kind of see a community or city or a huge development that might not be able to usually see with a typical video or a photography. You can't see the whole picture. Whereas here it's way more interactive. There's much more details that can be added, and there's much more room to grow in this virtual reality.
Yeah, we've got another question about how do you envisage that augmented and virtual reality will further transform digital viewings? So, e.g., sound, smell, interacting with the 3D world. Do you want to answer that, Pegah, and then I'll chip in?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we kind of touched upon the previous talk on property viewings. I think definitely the sound, smell, and touch, all those sensory experiences will definitely be added as the future holds, and there is much more room that we can add these sort of sensory experiences, so that it makes the virtual tour way more complete. As you mentioned, Ryan, to for example, adding the photos or a video of the surrounding community or where you can eat around there. These are all the different things that you can actually add, but also sound can be integrated. We can add the sound of the outside, the ambience of the inside. These are all can be added with a matter tag, but smell is the one that I'm not sure how that will work in the near future, but I'm sure that this will become way more complete as we go.
Yeah, and it's fair to say that particularly the technology we use at the moment looks fantastic on virtual reality viewers. So if you put on an Oculus headset or even a Google Cardboard, the immersion is fantastic in terms of feeling like you are there and in the environment, particularly like you say, when you step outside. So your place in Kensington where you step outside, if you've got a virtual headset on, you absolutely feel like you are there and part of the moment. And I think it's really important that I think as virtual tours grow and virtual viewing grow exponentially, that the consumer will want more interesting things to look at, and therefore the additional benefits of adding some videos in, adding some local areas, adding some people talking about the tour will really make a difference to that.
Yeah, so let's go to the rest of the questions. There are a few more. Are there plans to create a greater sensory experience that is not solely visual aspects like audio? I think we touched upon that right now as well. Definitely something audio, visual, more photos, videos can be added to the virtual tour. So, do you think that this can be applied to a rental industry as well as, or is this something that fits better with property buying? Um, in my opinion, at this time, people are more comfortable with making decisions in the rental sector with just slowly using the 3D tour. Whereas in the buying sector, usually people actually want to, at the end, visit this space before making their final decision. But as I mentioned before, I think where we are going, the 3D virtual tour will evolve in such a way that the buyers will also make informed decisions, or international buyers that can't physically view the space, or they're unable to due to health conditions or different reasons. These could be good reasons to enhance that virtual tour to make it more applicable to the buyer side. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there still is, particularly if you're spending hundreds of thousands, if not millions of pounds on a property, to want to visit it physically. But I do think virtual tours are a great way of almost siphoning through the information for customers. So I think you probably will see less actual viewings booked going forward, because they narrow down exactly what they want and exactly what their requirements are based on the virtual tour, and then finally visit to have a look at it. Also, we're finding that a lot of people who are buying and using a virtual tour actually wanting the virtual tour to show to their friends as well. We're getting a massive request once the property's bought, as a way of actually sharing the property in your new home to friends and family who can't visit. So it's almost got a bit of another reason for living as well outside of that. But certainly the rental industry. I mean, we've found working with a premium renter in London that they're getting properties that are costing upwards of £2,500–3,000 a month to rent, and people are renting them solely off of the virtual tour across the globe. I mean, it is fantastic that people across the globe can see your property in minutiae detail. I mean, when you talk about prep Pegah, it's really important because you can literally spot every single crumb on the floor.
Yeah.
So in minute detail, but that can go across the globe in an instant and work on any device. So it works as well on mobile as it does on desktop and iPads.
Yeah, exactly. And I think another big sector is the Airbnb management, which we've seen a rise of interest in, because then they can have a most accurate documentation of the space for their inventory checks, for their cleaning checks. And, it can kind of help not only sell the property, it also allows the agent to kind of use that as a way within their own system of operations, and kind of help them use it in that sense as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got another question come in. So from Sergey: current virtual tours don't cover surroundings. It is needed too for better understanding of where the property is. I think you're absolutely right. I think, and we've touched on that a few times during this presentation, but I think the more detail you can show, so be it from a computer rendered image like you showed on your LinkedIn feed, or a drone footage, or a drone 360 image, which we do a lot of at Visual Immersion, you can really cover the surrounding areas in a great level of detail. So you can see, how close the property is to a main road, how close the neighbours are, what size the garden actually is, all within that. So I do think the surrounding area and videos and content of the surrounding area is a real great place and a great addition to what makes a great virtual tour. And we're even seeing and looking at, in the future you may be able to sell space within a virtual tour as well to the local area. So it could be that you mention the top 5 restaurants and have a link to the top 5 restaurants, and therefore you can take some revenue from them because you're advertising it to, I don't know, your student accommodation that's got 1,000 people living in it, all through your virtual tour. So it can generate additional advertising revenue as well.
For sure. And I think definitely that's something that usually experts or people that are more experienced with virtual tours can add these benefits to the virtual tours, whereas someone that is less experienced, they tend to just usually have the virtual tour done. But these little extra add-ons and benefits that we can add that's what makes it more immersive, and it can create more a useful immersive 3D experience. There's more questions. What is the future of virtual tours in post-COVID era? I think post-COVID era, as if it is going to be something definitely that will carry on into our daily lives, and it's not going to be something that because now we can go back to physical viewings, then we won't need virtual tours, because virtual tours can be a way that can be way more beneficial than a traditional photography or videography, as we mentioned throughout this whole masterclass. That these are some of the key benefits of virtual tours. Is the main one is the transparency, knowing that you are seeing every little inch of that property without things being hidden. Then these are some of the things that should be carried on as a part of a culture into the property market, and it should be used. It will be often used more and more as time goes, because more people are going to see the benefits of it. More people are going to be maybe more used to it as well, because it is something new and some people are not that comfortable with new technology, but it does take a little bit of time for it to fully develop into people's daily lives.
Yeah, and I think, linking into the next question, do you see virtual tours having a negative impact at any point in the future? I personally don't. I mean, as well as all the benefits that Pegah's just talked about, you've also got the environmental benefit of less people visiting, less people traveling to visit, and therefore I think all round there's a great groundswell, I guess, of using the technology. And I think Pegah's absolutely right, is people will get used to the technology, and particularly over how you send the technology or embed the technology into your services and your environment, which we're seeing a lot of learnings, which I'm sure Pegah is. You take people on that journey of a virtual tour. So sending it via a link is very easy, but how you embed it on the website and create a real smooth virtual experience, so that if a consumer does want to book an actual viewing, they can within the model, or if they do want to ask some questions, they can within the model, is really important. We're seeing more and more requests for that, and a much smoother journey coming on board, which I think will only enhance the virtual tours going forward.
Great. We have 5 more minutes, so there's a few more questions we should get through. Please comment on where the tour is stored electronically and how long is it available. So in terms of the virtual tours, they are usually stored, if you do it professionally, they're usually stored with that company, but usually the rights are given to that person to use it elsewhere. And in terms of how long it can be live for however long you may wish, and it can be also archived, which is another great factor to mention, that you can keep that stored for lifetime and use it maybe in 20 years time if needs be, or you can update it later on if only parts of the property has been refurbished. You can only take that part, redo that part, and update that model to a new version. So it is something beneficial for the sense that it is stored indefinitely, and it can be used whenever the agent or the landlord wishes to.
Yeah, and you can also when we send embedding codes, put it into your website. You can tailor those to suit your needs, so you can make it a completely native experience on your website if need be, or you can get it to take off as a separate window into a hosting site where you can view the tour as well. So there's various options that you can tweak within the models in terms of how and where they're hosted.
Yeah, exactly. Great.
In terms of, we've got a couple more questions. In terms of the pricing is quite dependent on the size of the property, but starts from around, I know for visual immersion, starts at around £150, depending on the size of the property. And there's various levels of service within that in terms of the amount of tags, changes, etc. you want to put in. But it is relatively inexpensive, and I think certainly when I'm talking to new clients, it's much cheaper than they would first imagine. And a lot of companies like ourselves and Pegah, we do work directly with you guys to make the changes and guide you through how to use it, how to embed it, etc. So it's really important that you understand the model and can exploit the model and get the most out of the model that you can. So we would obviously work through all of it.
Yeah, exactly. The pricing, I think, it's become way more competitive, especially in London. As you see the rise of interest, the prices also have that competitive nature. At Touroo, our real estate prices start from 90, but that is a limited. That is also based on sizes and what type of other services you want as an add-on as well. So it is different in many cases. Some include the hosting, some don't include the hosting. So it is very dependent on who you choose to go forward and which one best works for you.
Yeah, I think we would just say that as both companies are very transparent in their pricing, and everything's included, so there's no hidden costs within either of our costs.
Great. Which other question? For example, Apple makes a user for an area. Will it be more? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We forgot to bring this page up. So if you guys need to connect either myself or Ryan, as we mentioned, introduce ourselves in the beginning. I work with Touroo and Ryan works with Visual Immersion. If you need to contact us for more information, or if you'd like to try one of our services, definitely give us check out our website or give us an email, send us an email, or you can slide a message on here as well. I would be happy to connect with any new people that we haven't spoken. There's some familiar people in this session so far. I think that's it.
And just one we can get for Sergey's. I think, for example, Apple makes a huge effort in AR area. Will it be more affordable for a customer? I think absolutely it will become more affordable, but also it will become much more use. So, we do offer a service that has augmented reality within it, but it is relative clunky at the moment, and I think you need a certain phone to make it work really well. So I think as companies like Apple embed LiDAR and things like that within their phones, it will become much more affordable, but also much more practical and easy to use for the consumer.
For sure, definitely. I think it has been much easier since the start of the AR era to date. I think it has become more convenient and affordable, but I think down the line in the near future, it's going to become much more easier, more affordable, and it's going to be much more familiar, such as any other technology kind of evolved.
Yes.
Great. Well, thank you guys very much for attending our session. As I mentioned before, if you guys need to contact us for more information, please do not hesitate. I'll be happy to connect on LinkedIn as well. And have a lovely rest of the day.
Brilliant. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye.